sound. All right, we are live with Tom and Amy. We just finished up the DOA hearing at the town trailers, and I wanted to get some comments from both Tom and Amy about how you think it went. So Tom, first, how do you think the whole hearing went?
I think it went very well for us. I think we presented a great case. I think Amy did a great job, and I just hope that the judge rules in our favor. Yeah.
So Amy, why do you think that Loyola should be allowed or can be allowed to stay here in as simplest terms as you can? I know you had a lot of great information out there. So much of it went over my head, but give us the synopsis of why they should be able to stay here.
So generally speaking, when the law prohibits conduct, people need to be aware very clearly of what conduct is prohibited. And in this instance, we have a property owner and a lessee who read the law, complied with it to the best of their abilities, and we've seen multiple governmental agencies sign off on the configuration of this site. If this conduct was strictly prohibited, we would see it somewhere in the town's land development code or somewhere in the FEMA regulations. We don't. This is truly an innovative concept, and I don't think that Tom should be penalized for doing something that's serving the community, that's innovative, and that's not prohibited.
So let's say, I don't think the town wants to do this. I think the town is in an awful position. I mean, the mayor has said if he had to do it over again, he would try and allow this. I don't know if now that he knows what he knows, if he would really do that, but he said he would. So if the judge rules in your favor, Amy, who has the last say? That state judge or FEMA? That's the one thing that it seems like nobody really knows the answer to.
That's a very good question. And the answer to that is fully dependent on what the ALJ comes back with. The ALJ being the administrative law judge who's overseeing the current proceedings. Depending on the outcome of that, it may clarify certain issues here. It may invite other questions that we will have to work through with FEMA and or the town or potentially other government agencies. But simply put, we don't know what we don't know at this point.
So, from your experience, what do you think? Does the federal government have the final say over something like this, or does the state judge? Clearly the town doesn't.
The federal regulations actually give the local governments jurisdiction to enforce the floodplain regulations, and it mandates that they adopt floodplain regulations, which we see in Chapter 6 of the town's land development code. So the town has these regulations that FEMA has found to be compliant for all intents and purposes. To my knowledge, FEMA isn't challenging any of the adopted regulations.
Right.
If this comes back in our favor and FEMA wants to further challenge it or mandates that the town further challenges it, then that would likely end up in state circuit court. But there's always the possibility for potential federal cases to come if that's the way that this goes. It's really hard to say at this point.
So Tom, here maybe it goes to circuit court. Is all of this worth it? It could go on and on and on in court and stuff like that. Is that? I know you've been a fighter since the beginning when the storm came through first. What's your end goal here?
Well, I think we're on the right side of this issue. This is my livelihood. There is no great plan B. This location has been where Loyola's been for a long, long time now. It makes no sense to have it torn away from us for no good reason. So we're going to continue to fight.
Is it the goal to get it through this season, or you want to be able to stay here until the property owners come up with a plan?
I think it would make total sense to allow us to remain in place operating until there's meaningful construction here in the square, until we're ready to redevelop. And the fact that we have a viable business here, I think we should be the last ones to redevelop in the square. If Terry was able to get his project approved, let him be the first and get the other construction, and then have have our property eventually have a building plan. Yeah.
Were you surprised? I mean, I felt like the town came at you pretty hard. Like they wanted a March deadline. They wanted to assess a fine after that. They wanted a $250 fee. Were you surprised by that?
Well, no. I think the town, said, or they use the saying like they've got a gun to their head. FEMA is forcing them to do this. So I don't think the town wants to even be in this position at all. So they're just doing FEMA's bidding for them at this point.
Amy, what do you think the chances are? You're a betting person.
I don't know, truly. I'm not really sure here. At a minimum, I would like at least for the outcome to be that Loyola can stay open through season for two reasons. One, as Tom mentioned in the hearing, he has a full slate of entertainment lined up. He has people who are depending on the operation of this business for their livelihoods. But also, we're not in storm season right now.
Mm-hmm.
The alleged risks of this configuration are minimal at this point, and we think at a very minimum, allowing Loyola to stay operational through season would be the minimum reasonable outcome.
Have you dealt with the federal government like this where it seems like they don't have any common sense? If you had somebody that was actually around this area, you would know that hurricane season doesn't start until June. There's no chance of these buildings being knocked down by anything. It hardly rains.
I don't have experience working with the federal government on this type of issue specifically, but I agree with you. I think that anybody who's local knows that the risks here are minimal. That being said, even if risks did present themselves, Tom has demonstrated that this is he has an operational plan that mitigates all serious risk, and I think that the outcome of this case should reflect that.
Any final thoughts, Tom?
No, I was just very surprised that the town didn't realize that the shipping containers were on trailers already. Ed, you've shot all kinds of videos here. I put all kinds of stuff on Facebook. We've shown them pulling out, shown pictures of them on the trailers.
I think the problem you had, Tom, is you made them look nice.
Yeah.
You covered them with some nice covering.
I don't think that was the problem, but yeah.
All right. Well, good luck. Thank you.